Take me out to California.
Hi guys! So this is for those of you who have lost a loved one and maybe this is your first Christmas, or just you lost a loved one and Christmas is tough. So I'm going to share with you 5 things that might help, or just things to think about while you are going through grief at Christmas. For those of you that don't know, my husband Ross died last year of brain cancer. I've got 2 children, Brooke and Texas, who are 5 and 7. And the first Christmas was last year, and that Christmas was a bit of a blur. And for those of you that follow this channel, you'll know that I talked openly about my grief and have continued to do so. Last year, actually, I was on the Lorraine Kelly show in the UK a couple of times discussing grief and Christmas and what that has meant for us. And last year was, we were at my mother-in-law's, so we weren't here in this house. This is going to be our first Christmas in this house. Ross never lived here. He bought this house with me, but he never actually lived here. So we are really starting fresh here. And this is our first proper Christmas. We'll have Christmas morning here. We'll have Christmas lunch here. And then we'll spend the afternoon with family. But my thoughts are this, and I wrote some down because I had to think about it, because I'm not an expert in grief. I'm just living it myself and learning myself and reading a lot about it and trying to work out what's best for me and my girls. So I was just in there, what's best for me and my girls, and the first thing that I put down is think about what is best for you and your family. So people are going to always have their input, and they're going to either want to be around you and sort of scoop you up and almost smother you with love and support, or they're going to step back and think, oh, what if they need, you know, distance and they want to work out themselves. And I think the important thing is for you to think about, what do I need? Do I want to be around people? Do I not? Do I want to stay at families for Christmas because that would be nicer? Do I want to have Christmas alone? Do we want to, you know, be building our own traditions in our own house? What's going to make me feel good on Christmas? Because Christmas is such a heightened time. It's busy. It's very family orientated. And if you've lost a member of your family, if you've lost part of your clan, especially if it's your direct family, there's going to be a missing person. There's going to be someone that isn't there, and it's going to be really, really obvious. And Christmas is a hard time, you know. For my children, they're writing Christmas cards. Yesterday, Brooke wrote Christmas cards at Brownies that she goes to, a club that she goes to, and she wrote in it to Mum, Dad, and Tex, I just want Dad to come back, because that's what she was feeling at that time. And it's like, you're doing all this stuff, oh, we make presents for Mum and Dad, and they've lost their dad. So it's always a time when there's that heightened feeling of loss. So do what's best for you. That's really important. Work out what that is. What's going to make me feel better? And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, okay? Doesn't matter what their input, because you're the person that's got to get you through this. So sod what anybody else thinks. You've got to work out what's right for you. Number 2 is find a way to remember your loved one. Now for you, I mean, some of you are religious. I'm not. Maybe that's a religious thing, or some of you have graves or plaques or memories or I don't know, things, that places you go to remember your person, in which case you can do that and make that part of your Christmas. Again, we don't have that kind of thing, so maybe it's just that you talk about that person. There's nothing worse than avoiding the discussion. I mean, we don't do that. We talk about Ross all the time because he's always on our minds, and he was such a big character, you can't not. There's always a funny story or something he said or would have said. And so I think it's important to talk about that person and not omit them from the day. You know, whatever that is, whether if you've got children, you want to make pictures for them, you want to think about previous Christmases, what did you do, you know, funny things that happened. For my girls, I'll talk about things we've done in the past and what Dad liked to do. And you know, he wasn't massively into Christmas, although he did get, when the girls got a little bit older, he did quite enjoy it. But you know, we talk about those things, and it's just finding a way to, you know, recognize the loss there, recognize that that person's not with you and that you miss them, and that it sometimes feels sad, and sometimes you just, it's just overwhelming. And just find a way. Maybe you build a tradition that incorporates them in some way. My mother-in-law's got baubles on her tree. That's not for like all like people who've died, but just for everyone in the family, and she's got a bauble with Ross on there. And there's things like that that are just nice. You know, you're not forgetting that person, you're not avoiding the fact, you know, it's not an elephant in the room that that person isn't there. And I think that's really important. Look after yourself. Self-care is huge around this time. I think most people at Christmas, it can be quite an overwhelming time, but if you're going through the loss of somebody that you love, it just can feel mammoth, and there's going to be so much going on. You have to look after yourself. You have to try and eat and sleep and eat a lot of chocolate if you need to, and have a nice warm bath, and be around friends if that makes you feel good, or be on your own if that makes you feel good. You've got to look after yourself in whatever that is. And again, it's not what it's supposed to be, or what you think, or what somebody else's idea of self-care is. If your idea of self-care is to go raving in some club somewhere all night long dancing, and that makes you feel good, then do that. If your idea of self-care is to read a book in a library for 3 hours and then eat cake, do that. Whatever, it's your life, and I want you to really not feel like it's selfish. You've got to look after yourself in this heightened time of Christmas and loss. Ugh, it's a lot, so please take care of yourself. It's paramount. And yeah, as I said, mixed emotions. It's going to be such a wave of emotion, and I know I'm already feeling it a little bit. And we're going to Lapland, and there's, you know, it's a year for me where things are raw. Last year it was very much adrenaline and getting through, and this year it's raw. It's like the mask has been ripped off, and it's like, Ross isn't here, this is our life, and we really miss him. We really miss him, and he's not here, and we don't have our jokes, and we, you know, it's raw. And I've found myself quite emotional recently when I've been, you know, thinking about things. And you know, obviously my girls are going through grief as well, and it's hard to see them really acutely aware of the loss, and that Ross isn't here. And that's, you know, your emotions could be like this all day, what in 1 hour, and it's okay. It's okay. It's normal. It's normal to feel angry and sad and frustrated and overwhelmed. Just ride the wave of it and go do the thing that's going to make you feel good, and be around the people that are going to make you feel good, and avoid the people that aren't. And it's as simple as that. And lastly, try to find fun guilt-free. I mean, I wouldn't say this is something that I massively suffer with, but I've spoken to people that feel guilty that they are enjoying their life and their person isn't there. And you've got to. And the person that you loved and that they're not here, they wanted you to have fun. They wanted you to have a nice life. They didn't want you to stop because they did. And you have to try and find some fun. Just guilt-free. Just because you have a laugh and a joke doesn't mean that you didn't love that person, or you don't miss them, because grief isn't like that. It's highly nuanced. There's good and bad in grief, there's good and bad in loss, and for every rubbish day there's a good day and a good thing and a good person. So just look for that. And when you are having a nice time, don't deliberately think, oh, I need to think painful thoughts that are going to make me feel sad again, as some kind of weird loyalty to your lost person. That's not winning. That's not going to make any difference. It's just going to make you feel sad. So when you feel good and you're in those moments, celebrate that. Celebrate those wins. And it's great that you feel good. It's not something to feel guilty about. Just enjoy that and enjoy that moment. Christmas can be a really challenging time for lots of people, whether that's loss or loneliness or all of those things. So be around the people that fill you up and energize you, and connect with those people. And look, we've got the internet, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, and all of these things connect with people. There is a world of people out there, and you know, there's people that you are gonna they're gonna light you up and make you feel good. So be around those people, and eat loads of Christmas cake and buy yourself a present and feel good. And I know that it can be hard sometimes, so I'm sending you loads and loads of love if you are going through this Christmas. And yeah, That's all I gotta say. Comment below and make sure that you subscribe to this channel and press the bell so that you get notifications, and send this to the person that is going through grief that you think will need it. Peace.
Take me out to California.